Usyk Joshua 2, the weigh-in. Usyk scaled 221 pounds and Joshua scaled 244 pounds. So Usyk is identical in weight to the first fight. And in my recent videos where people have been talking about Usyk being bulked up and looking huge, I said all along that I don't see it. I don't see all this extra muscle that people are talking about. To me, it looks the same. And indeed, in this particular instance, my eyes didn't fail me, and Usyk turned up on the scales exactly the same weight as last time. As you can see here, 221 and a quarter for the first fight, 221 and a half for the rematch. AJ's put on 4 pounds since the first fight, and I can actually see it. He looks a bit more full in the shoulders, the biceps, and the chest. So those are the weights. Now, Usyk was determined, as he was at the first press conference, not to lose the stare down. He wanted to win that. And AJ was not quite as determined, but close. Now, after the stare down, AJ said that face-offs don't matter. Stare downs don't matter. It's all about what happens in the ring. But for a guy who says that stare downs don't matter, AJ spent an awful lot of time, I mean, it was several minutes, trying to win the face-off against Usyk. So I think that stare downs do matter a bit more to AJ than he's letting on, or at least this stare down mattered a bit more to AJ than he's letting on. Perhaps stare downs in previous fights didn't mean anything to him, but the stare downs for this Usyk rematch, they mean something to AJ. That's why he's trying so hard to win them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about how both guys looked on the scales. Are you among those who are surprised that Usyk came in the exact same weight as last time? Were you deceived by the pictures? Because the camera can lie, or at least pictures can lie when they're shot from certain angles and what have you. When they're cropped in a certain way, it can make it look like someone's bigger than they actually are. You have to be careful of that. Andy Ruiz should have taught us all about this, people. Now, of course, with Andy Ruiz, it's more him looking lighter than he actually is rather than heavier. But you can do the reverse. You can end up looking heavier than you really are. And even with video, it's the same. It isn't just with still images. Still images, I think it's easier to trick people. But with video, you can do it as well. Andy Ruiz, again, did it recently with one of his training videos. But like I say, those are the weights. 244 for AJ, 221 for Usyk. I think these are good weights for both. I think that both guys probably just came in at whatever weight they were based upon the training they did. I don't think that these are strategic weights. Let me put it that way. I don't think that AJ had in mind, okay, I need to come in at, let's say, 245, 244. I think he just trained, didn't do too much by way of weightlifting, and he's come in at whatever he's come in at. And for Oleksandr Usyk, I suspect it's a similar situation. There are some people out there who felt that AJ should actually come in heavy for this fight, as in 248, 249, hovering close to the 250 mark. I always felt that that would be a big mistake. I think that the low 240s is about as high as he should get. And for certain fights, even under 240, and we saw that in the Andy Ruiz rematch. AJ is a very similar weight here to what he was in that Dillian Whyte fight all those years ago. Against Dillian Whyte, he was 245, and here is 244. 244 against Charles Martin, 243 against Dominic Brazil. These were good weights for AJ. Then he started getting a bit too heavy, like in the Molina fight, the Klitschko fight, certainly the Takam fight, way too heavy. 242 against Parker, 245 against Povetkin, 247 against Ruiz, which again was a bit too heavy in that first fight. 10 pounds lighter in the rematch, 240, so 3 pounds heavier than he was for the Ruiz rematch against Pulev. The same weight for Usyk in the first fight, and now 4 pounds heavier for the rematch. So, yeah, I think it's, as I say, good weight for AJ. I think it's imperative that he paces himself properly in this fight and implements effective, intelligent aggression. Not an all-out assault from round one like Derek Chisora. You have to save the all-out assault for, I don't know, the mid-rounds, the late rounds. If you feel like you're behind, that's when you're going to need the all-out assault. And by the way, I think that Derek Chisora being in AJ's team, so to speak, not that he's in the training team, but Derek Chisora is there for moral support. I think that that is good for Anthony Joshua because Derek Chisora has the kind of mentality which AJ could do with in this fight. The devil may care mentality, where he's going to leave it all in the ring, where he's not going to be afraid to risk getting KO'd in order to win the fight himself. He's going to need that. He's going to need to lose his fear of getting knocked out, hurt, etc. Again, you still fight sensibly when you do that, but the mind stays positive and the mind stays on job. And for Usyk, I think Usyk has been doing the right thing all along. I mean, he's a vet. He understands the game, not just from a technical aspect, but psychologically. He's staring AJ down. He's trying to, I guess, make him think about the first fight. He's trying to show himself to be the dominant force here. So Usyk's doing the right thing. And in terms of game plan, I think Usyk just has to be adaptable. If AJ comes out really aggressive, throwing big, heavy shots, of course you look for the counters, but first and foremost, you make sure you're not getting clipped. Do you know what I mean? Because AJ, at 244 pounds, he's a big, strong man. He's athletic. He punches fast. He's got a big left hook as well as a big right hand. He has power in his straight shots and in his hooks and uppercuts. So you got to be careful of Usyk. Don't try to pounce on him too early because there is some talk of Usyk maybe going for the stoppage in this fight. You have to break AJ down. You got to make sure you've hurt him properly. Not just a little wobble, but hurt him properly before you go for the finish. Or that he's really tired like he was in the 12th round of the first fight. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the weigh-in, the tactics, and everything else involved in this fight. I'm out.
If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high-quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship-free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.